By mid-February, all of these planets will have moved into Aquarius. What does that mean for you based on your rising sign? Stick around and find out. Okay, first let's talk about Aquarius. Aquarius is represented by the star, and this energy is of your hopes and dreams, your biggest aspirations. It's also about how you represent within the whole, within the collaborative group. This is you standing out in a crowd. It's what you bring to the table. What do you have to offer that can help further humanity, further the community, and bring your resource to the discussion? So this is the energy of Aquarius, and this is the energy that we're going to be in for the next 20 years with Pluto in Aquarius. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will put a link to my Pluto and You video, and this is where I discuss the movement of Pluto out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. So we have Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years. There will be an exception later this year, but pretty much for the next 20 years, Pluto is in Aquarius. But until mid-February, the sun is also there. So these two energies, they're so close together in their degrees in the sky. This is called a cazimi. Means is the planet or planets that are near the sun are really, really amplified. It's like they've been turned up to 11. Okay, Cancer rising. We start out the beginning of the month with the sun and Pluto already in Aquarius in your 8th house. The 8th house is the house of personal transformation. It's ruled by Pluto, so Pluto is at home in this house, and Pluto is the energy of regeneration. It's the energy of death and rebirth. This is where we come to reinvent ourselves. This is also the house of intimacy and shared resources. And if you have a partner that you share resources with and you are intimate with, then you know that sometimes, a lot of the time, those two things go hand in hand. So all this energy of the sun and Pluto are shining on your 8th house, or your house of personal transformation. The 8th house is also the house of your psyche. So when you have major transits going through your 8th house, this is going to bring out the things that are hidden deep in your psyche. The 8th house is like a swamp. It's a water sign. And I think of it like this muddy swamp that when water comes to it, when there's a lot of excessive water or emotion, it brings things up to the surface that may have been buried in that mud. And a lot of times the things that come to the surface are psychological traumas, they're psychological past events or things that really affect who we are and our ability to be not just intimate with another person on another level, but intimate with ourselves, to be able to really be honest and truthful with yourself and to look in the mirror and see exactly who you are, bad, good, and everything in between. So this period over the next 20 years with Pluto moving through that 8th house, this is going to really open you up to your deep internal psyche and to your ability to be intimate, both within your own psyche and with a partnership, as well as your shared resources. So on the 4th of the month, Mercury, or the magician, this is the energy of manifestation and creation. Mercury moves into this house. Now there's going to be a whole big party going on here, so there's a lot that's going to be happening in this 8th house. It's really important for you, in my opinion, to get familiar with these energies, because you're going to be experiencing this heightened level of activity and awareness within your 8th house for the next 20 years. I can't emphasize that enough, how important it is to get to know this energy. So when Mercury moves into your 8th house on the 4th of the month, Mercury is the energy of communication and messages. Mercury was the mythological being that could bring messages between both the world of the dead and the world of the living. So Mercury is all about getting that message out. Mercury brings that message, that introspective communication, and a focus on your shared resources out with this, So Mercury moving into your 8th house brings that communication and that focus of your intellect, of your mind, to matters of intimacy, matters of intimate partnership, and matters of shared resources. And what is shared resources? That can be money, of course. You have a bank account that you share. It can be a home that you share, that's a resource. It can be a business. It can be any kind of thing that keeps you alive and sustains you and helps you to be a human in this world. Those are resources. So some of those resources are yours and you're on your own, and some of those you share with someone, especially a partner or a family member. Mercury is really bringing that attention of your mind, of your intellect and your thought process to your 8th house, to these matters of personal transformation and intimacy and shared resources. Now on the 9th of the month, the moon, or the high priestess, this is the energy of intuition and instinct and just that sort of that knowledge, that gut instinct that we have. The moon has also moved into the 8th house at this point in the month on the 9th. So when the moon and the sun are in the same house or the same sign, that is a new moon. And new moons are times for new beginnings, fresh starts. It's the beginning of a whole new moon cycle. So this is an opportunity for you to start something fresh, start something new, give it a whole different try. Maybe you've done something before and you're ready to try a different method. So a new moon in your 8th house with the sun and Pluto already there and Mercury already there, this really brings transformative and intense energies relating to your shared resources. This could be very impactful for you at the time, right? During this new moon. So if you have any ideas on starting something fresh and starting something new that impacts a shared resource, this is the time to start planning. These transformative and intense energies can also be focused on not just your personal transformation or your shared resources, but on your intimacy and profound evolution of your psychic mind. You might be tapping into your more intuitive and psychic powers at this time, or into a more instinctual way of following your emotions. The 8th house is an emotional house. It is a psychic house and an emotion house. It's a water house. So all of these deep emotional aspects are coming up when all this light is shining on your 8th house. So not only is the sun shining the daylight, but the moon is also shining the night light, the moonlight. So moving on the 12th of February, Mars, or the Tower. This card can be a little frightening for people. It shouldn't. It just means it's crisis and upheaval, but it's for the purpose of revelation. Mars is raw energy. It's just action that moves through there. So Mars brings this raw energy, this absolute, go, go, go power punch to this 8th house. So it brings energy to these transformative experiences. You're not just thinking about them, you're acting on them now. And it brings energy to a collaborative effort within your shared resource situation or within your intimate connection. So again, you might have been thinking about things for a long time, but now Mars has moved in and said, action, time to go, time to do it, time to move. Don't just sit there thinking about it. Let's take action. Now on the 16th of the month, Venus, or the energy of fertility, abundance, and growth, as well as social connection and values and self-worth. Venus brings a lot to the table. Venus also joins this party, and I'm just going to stick her right there because there's no room in this house to even put any more planets. It is chock full. It's bursting at the seams. Venus comes in with this energy of emotion, but it's bringing it to this Aquarius filter. So there is a period of emotionally innovative and unconventionally, so Venus comes in and brings out this period of emotionally innovative and unconventional experiences when it comes to your shared resources, your transformation, and your intimacy in these personal connections. Venus is not just money, and the 8th house is a money house, so Venus could be bringing a potential for more money within that shared resource situation, but it's also bringing out your values and how much you value this shared resource or how much you value this intimacy, both within yourself and with a partner. It's also bringing out how much you value your need to tap into your psychic energy. Let's get out of that big Aquarius party and move right next door to Pisces. Now, in the middle of the month, on the 18th, the sun moves over into Pisces. We move into Pisces season, get a little bit of relief from all this heavy spotlight on the 8th house. Now, as the sun moves into Pisces, it joins Saturn and Neptune, which have also been in Pisces for a while, and Saturn and Neptune will be there until 2025. So the energies of these two planets in Pisces is going to be with you for quite a while, and it has been for a while. So what does that mean? Well, Saturn is the planet of structure and discipline. It is a heavy earth energy. It stops things in its tracks. It puts obstacles in your way. It's very weighted and grounded and heavy. So Saturn coming into your ninth house. The ninth house is the house of philosophy, higher education, higher intellect. The ninth house is the house of exploration of other cultures. I call it the house of foreign affairs. So this could be exploring other cultures on, say, an intellectual or an academic level, like sociology or anthropology, or it can be. It's also called the house of long distance travel or travel over waters, overseas. So this can be learning about other cultures or about other experiences through actual physical travel. Or maybe you're reading a book, or maybe you're watching, some documentaries, or somehow you are experiencing learning about other culture as it relates to you and yourself. So Saturn moving through the ninth house, bringing its structured heavy earth energy, brings a period of structured introspection and disciplined exploration of your spiritual and philosophical beliefs, of your higher beliefs, whether this is religious or spiritual or philosophical or what have you. The ninth house is where we go into our sort of sage, higher mind, sort of, sitting around and philosophizing kind of energy. Neptune coming into Pisces. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So Neptune is at home whenever it's in Pisces, enhancing and amplifying that Piscean energy. And Neptune in this, in your ninth house can evoke a period of spiritual exploration. It can also blur the boundaries between what is your beliefs and this potential idealistic pursuit of higher knowledge. So the thing about Neptune is it has a tendency to it's a water sign, and it's a very psychic sign. It's not reality. It's very much the opposite of reality. So Neptune has a tendency to bring this quality of almost like you're underwater. Everything's muffled. Everything's just a little bit harder to understand. Like when you go underwater in the pool or the bathtub and someone's talking, and you can still hear that there's conversation going on. You can still hear talking, but you can't hear it clearly. It's very muffled. When you're in the water and you're trying to move from one side of the pool to the other and you run, you're not just going to run like you would normally on dry land. It takes effort. You have to push through this water. So that's the energy of Neptune. It can come in and kind of puts this fuzziness around things. So you might have a harder time discerning between what is reality and what is not, or hearing things clearly, or seeing things clearly, or experiencing things clearly. It also might put your mind into a situation where what you think is real is not real. So this is a really good time for exploring those blurred boundaries between what is your beliefs and what is actually real, what is potentially realistic and not some, just complete fantasy. And there's nothing wrong with fantasy, but when Saturn and Neptune come together, it's sort of a back to reality feeling. The Sun enters this 11th house, and this brings a heightened period for a favorable period for spiritual exploration, for higher learning, and for broadening your perspective of what it means to be alive, of why we're here. Existentialism. Why are you here? Why do you exist? This is the energy of the ninth house, and it's interesting that it comes right on the heels of the 8th house, because the 8th house is where we literally, dissect ourselves. We cut ourselves open. And by the time we get to the 9th house, hopefully all of that dissection of our deepest intimate self in the 8th house has broadened our horizons and opened up our mind to a much broader intellectual and philosophical experience. Now Mercury on the 22nd of the month also moves into Pisces, joins this ninth house philosophy meeting, and brings out a period of intuitive and expansive communication. This fosters spiritual exploration and really heightens your connection to this higher learning community, to this academic community, to the intellectual pursuits. So Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is bringing that message to your state of philosophy and intellect and academia. On the 24th of the month, the moon will have made its way all the way around to Virgo. Virgo is the opposite of Pisces. So whenever we have a full moon, the moon and the sun are in opposite houses. They're showing us where we need to find balance between two opposite areas of life. So Virgo, for you Cancer rising, is your third house. The third house is the house of Mercury. It is the house of communication, of messages, of data flow in, data flow out. It's the house of elementary education or practical or rudimentary education. So in the third house, we're learning the basics, we're learning fundamental education, and then we go across to the ninth house, and that is higher education, academia. So when we have this opposition of moon and sun in the third house and the ninth house, this is heightening your awareness and bringing challenges to communication, to learning, and to mental clarity. And it requires careful attention to detail and practical solutions before you dive deep into this heavy, heady philosophical and academic situation. So your mind, your thoughts, your thought processes do have a place in the collective, in the collaborative. You just need to make sure that your emotions surrounding your voice are grounded in practical and earthy ways, this practical Virgo. Otherwise, you might feel a separation or a disconnect between who you are as an individual and your own thoughts and your own mind versus the collaborative. You don't want to get sucked into a cult mind or some kind of hive mind situation where you are not thinking for yourself. So you want to make sure that you have strong boundaries and strong, grounded, practical ideas of who you are before you go and start creating this group mind. So there's nothing wrong with collaboration in academia, but you want to make sure that you're always thinking for yourself. Cancer rising, that is what I have for you this month, and I'm looking forward to all these major shifts in energy, and I hope you are too. I hope you are finding good grounded ways to stay practical in this heavy, intimate, deep exploration that you will be going through. So thank you so much for watching. Please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in March. Bye.